So mental health is actually a state of well-being.
Tugamba nti maka gaba maka. That is the real term gye nsobola okukozesa.
We should be mindful of what we say and what we do.
Naye abaami abo nabo beetaaga okubeera nga babavaako nnyo.
Okwagala twagale naye tuteekeko ki? Don't lose yourselves in relationships.
Is that a warning sign or the angels are waking you up to pray tahajjud?
Mental health is our health, and there's no health without mental health.
My name is Shamirah. I'm a customer experience consultant and a mentor with Girls for Girls, and a member of the Uganda Muslim Women Civilization Initiative. Happy to see all of you here.
Of adolescents and young people. I've seen so many young people. Do you have a personal growth agenda? Are you a parent who needs help with your children? I am around. For your information, I'm a married judge. So I've seen people that I need to connect with. So when you get, you know what they call seize the moment. Seize it. You get a byokola period. Already end up your content creator. Look for me. Yes, this is how we network. Aren't we here to network? Yes. So please, abafumbo munywere. I've made my 28th year on 30th July. Yes, 28 years in marriage. And I'm happy. And I'm still counting. Sichivamu. Sichivam.
Okay. And I will not say so much after you can have your seats, please. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sisters, do you ever take time off to cater for your mental health? I don't mean the physical health, because that one we do it very well, but the mental health. Oftentimes we underlook it, yet it's very important in our lives. Even just having knowledge about it, it won't only change our day-to-day lives, but also the perspective about people living around us. Do you know that? Anyway, today I welcome you to our gorgeous show, Muslimah Coffee Talk, where we meet, share, and learn. And today we are here to explore an amazing topic, that is mental health as a key aspect in our lives. So we have a phenomenal sister who is the Commissioner, Ministry of Health. She is the leading expert in mental health and substance abuse. And as we speak, she's the head of mental health division in the Ministry of Health. Kindly, let's stand up and we put our hands together for our sister, Dr. Hafswa Lukwata Sentongo. Let's take our seats. Thank you. Mashallah, you're looking so smart. Alhamdulillah, we are happy to have you here, and we thank you so much for sparing your time to be here. She is a very, very busy public servant, and as we speak, she's just from a meeting. She ran out just to attend this show. Thank you so much. We appreciate that sacrifice. When I look at you, I keep wondering what really motivated you into advocating for mental health. Is it as a result of a personal challenge, a family member, or just a passion? I know many sisters in the audience who also love to know that.
The Muslim ladies gathered here, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I feel very treasured and happy to be with you people here. It's more than, I can't imagine what, but I'm looking at the beautiful faces. She was telling me about the Muslim women here. And I'm like, wow, you mean you have that group already? But I'm so excited and that's so wonderful. So, Shamirah, my name is Hafswa Lukwata Sentongo. And yes, I'm a mother of 4 and 1 daughter, 4 boys and 1 daughter. Ida, she's also married. But yes, I've already been introduced. And what actually motivated me, I can't put it together, but there are so many things I'm trying to add now, pieces together. And it's until she asks me that I even start recapitulating what actually happened in the past. But I think it's a long story. It started off when I was a child. I was a child, and I used to go to, when we would get sick, we would go to hospital, and Mulago was very close to us. So I used to go there and see very many sick people, and you know, the kids are so sick, and I would feel so touched about them. But then, also, as we were growing up in school, there were these balokole people. They usually give out booklets. And when they give out those booklets, I took time to read. And one of them was telling, like, he was treating people's minds. And I was like, okay. And then he mentioned their psycho something. And remember that time we were primary. I couldn't even remember, but I think he meant a psychiatrist or a psychologist, somewhere like that. So I'm like, okay, I think I want to be like this person. He described the person, okay, in that book they described what this person was doing, helping others.
So in other words, you're motivated by that molokole?
Yes, that was, not the molokole, it's the message that was in there, the work of a person who was helping other people to heal their minds. Not the molokole, but the person they were describing in that book.
All right.
So
many of us have dreams, or we admire things we see with other people, but normally we leave it at that. What really kept you on to chase that dream?
Yes, actually, yes, when I grew up, I mean, like, for me, my school was easy. I'm sorry to say, for those that could have had issues. My school was easy. I went to, I'm a Gayaza girl, so I was in Gayaza throughout. And yes, I would pass my exams and go to the next class. And I was doing sciences very well, and I went into medical school. I'm from Barara University.
Mashallah.
Mashallah. So after that, when even my work years, when I went into the Ministry of Health, and this was way back 2005.
So in other words, did you study to become a doctor?
Yes, I was a doctor then, but now to get into mental health came in now finally. There was a lady before me. She was heading the mental health program. She was very tough. Some of you could have maybe interfaced with her. She was quite tough. And she used to neglect, she used to stop people from joining her. Like, you're a drunkard. I cannot be with you. You cannot come into mental health when you're a drunkard. You're this, you do not like people. You're so rude. I wouldn't let you come into, to work with me. Those kinds of things. So then she went and handpicked me. I said, come and we go. Come and we work. And at that time I was in clinical services, general. And
so meaning that people around us also play a great role.
Oh yes, they do. They do. So
in driving us into achieving our dreams, yeah?
Exactly. Okay. So actually what she did, she told me, you're in that HIV world, but there's nothing new. There's nothing new. When you're here in the Ministry of Health, what is it that you're going to do? In mental health, you're going to write policies. We're going to think about the people. Everything has been done by the Bazungus in HIV. So there's nothing, even malaria, there's nothing new. We are taking our medicines, and we know when you don't sleep under a mosquito net, you get malaria. So what is new that is you're really getting out of there? So, and surely it was right. There was nothing new there, and there was everything new in mental health. All
right, Hajat. Yes. At that very point, we really want to know what mental health is. Because the moment some people hear mental health, the mind runs up to Butabika, but what is mental health?
I hope no one believes that here. When we talk about health, health is health. Well-being, a state of well-being. So mental health is actually a state of well-being, where someone is...
A state of well-being. What is well-being?
What is well-being? When you're well, you think well, you eat well, you feel nice and good, and you relate with others. You have reason why you're living. You have you wake up in the morning and say, I am capable of moving to this. I am capable of going to work. I have my dress on. I have my children. I can, and you even feel good about yourself. That is mental health. So it really controls each and every part of your body. Your eyes, the way you look at other people, the way you react, your mood. Are you the snappy person or the kind person who just, smiles away? That is mental health. And we all have mental health. What we do not all have are the mental illnesses. And just like I would want to say that.
Dr. Hafswa.
Yes.
I know, just like a sister in there, when you start talking of mental health, then mental illness,
yes.
Then I know at the next point, because we normally hear mental disorder, so somehow we get puzzled. So what is the exact difference between those three terms? Mental health, mental illness, mental distress, mental disorder.
Okay.
Can you kindly take us through in the lay language?
Okay. In the layman's terms,
yes,
these are two words that are opposite each other. And unfortunately, we've been using these words interchangeably, one to mean the other. Many people, when they have a mental health disorder, we say that person has mental health. Can you imagine? We are telling them that they are okay when they are not. But we are living on a spectrum. When I say spectrum, is many times we are not okay. We may have some signs and symptoms of those people that are having a disorder. You understand? So, and the disorders take on many forms. There are those that are visible, and there are those that are not visible. That's the unfortunate part about mental health somehow. So the ones that are visible are those people that you see. That is severe psychosis. The ones that you see moving onto in the streets, naked or dirty, disorganized behavior, maybe throwing stones or shouting.
So that is a disorder or illness.
Now that's a disorder. Okay, now I think let's not get into this illness and whatever, because a disorder is a state of illness. But it is called a disorder because it takes on more than just one symptom. We cannot diagnose someone with a mental disorder using only one symptom, one sign. There are quite a number of them.
So meaning that when my mental health is damaged, I become mentally ill.
Yes. Or you may have problems. What we usually say, that you're having a mental health problem. You're not well. You're not feeling exactly well. Your mind is not thinking properly. You're feeling down. You cannot eat very well. You're failing to sleep. Or when you sleep, you wake up very early, You cannot sustain a sleep. You cannot sustain relationships. The moment you get into one, you want to, you get bored along the way and you break off, that kind of thing. We cannot diagnose you to have a mental disorder, but you're having some problems with relating with others. You're having a mental health problem. You're not very well mentally. And many of us actually, unfortunately, swing on that spectrum. Very few people are on the extreme sides.
Is mental health really important to us?
Oh, yes.
And why?
Okay. Maybe I could ask the audience, is mental health really, is it important to us? Certainly.
Why?
Mental health is pivotal. It is what rules or determines everything that you do. Did you know? It determines each and everything that you do. Remember, we've talked about the feelings, We've talked about your thoughts, the things that are going in your mind. That is your mental health, The actions, the things that you do. You wake up in the morning, you either beat your child or you hug them, You either shout at someone or you speak very well with them. You either bathe or you refuse to bathe.
So
that is mental health. It's our day-to-day thing. It's part of your life. It's a way of life. So it is very important that we all understand it and we nurture it and we pay attention to it and we help others who are failing on the spectrum.
Okay, Hajati. So yes. At what point do I tell that actually my mental health is at stake?
Okay, so the doctors or the psychiatrists, for that matter, will help you to diagnose this. It's not everyone.
Psychiatrist.
Yes.
Meaning that everyone needs a psychiatrist.
Yes, and unfortunately there are very few. However,
But is that practical?
yes, it is. And why do I say this? We have quite a number of them. Colleagues, those of you who are listening in, these health workers are available. We have taught each and every healthcare worker in the country to be able to identify someone with a mental illness. I can just talk about depression. When people get depression, they feel very low. They cannot wake up easily. They cannot relate easily. They cannot eat easily. They stop enjoying things they used to enjoy previously. They do not have energy. They are weak all the time. So even people, when they look at you, they imagine that you're a lazy person but it's just that you cannot control yourself. Whatever is controlling you is in the brain. The chemicals in there have become either a lot or little. I'll not get into that detail. So there's a problem that needs to be fixed. So healthcare workers will start to put pieces together. I told you we do not diagnose mental illnesses with just one sign or symptom. So we use quite a number of them, and we have laid these protocols, and they are available within health facilities. So it is possible for a general healthcare worker to suspect, but when it comes to the final diagnosis, it requires a specialist to do this for you. So that is why it is very important that you see a psychiatrist or at least a psychologist. Even a psychologist may be able to tell what you're going through.
Doctor, I would really need a practical step to take because not everyone has access to a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Look at the people in the villages.
In my village,
Even I'm going very far. Even here in Kampala, maybe by show of hands in the audience, how many people have a psychiatrist at home?
You don't have to have them at home, but what we are saying is every healthcare worker should be able to identify someone. Just like
Every healthcare worker.
Yes, should be able to
But
identify.
not all of us that are healthcare workers. Can you give us like an example where I can personally tell at home that actually, you know what, Shami? My mental state is
not okay.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, this can also happen. Actually, we are even training healthcare workers, and the reason why you people are here, I think today, is one of them. Every one of us should, at the end of that day, be able to stop and think through what they are going through or the way they've been behaving. But even sometimes, we may not know, because the nature of mental illnesses, the person does not know that they are sick. They will always say,
exactly, that's what I'm asking.
So what I'm saying,
sometimes when you're into a situation, it's very hard to personally accept. Even people around, even if they tell you, what, Shamirah, I think you need help. I think you're going through this. It's very, very hard to accept straight away. So I would really ask from you to tell us a practical example. For instance, like breast cancer. Before I go to the hospital, they tell us to lie on our beds, feel your breast, feel the lump, then come to the hospital. So is there a practical step to that extent?
Yes. Okay, for the Muslim women who are here, I would like to take this opportunity to take you through this process. There are quite a number of how do we call them? Like steps, that you will take, and each one of them may mean something else. So I've been telling you about sleep. I will start with that. Sometimes we may not be able to sleep at all, like you fail to sleep. That is on the extreme side. But many people may sleep like for just a small part of the day, night, and as long as they are disrupted by anything, even if it's urine, someone cannot sleep again. Okay? That is a warning sign. This usually starts at around 3 o'clock there when the circadian rhythms start to have for the day. So you can't sleep again, even if you wanted how. And then somehow later on, the sleep comes later. That is a problem. That is a warning sign.
Is that a warning sign, or the angels are waking you up to pray tahajjud?
Well, it depends on your purpose. You may want, that's another thing. When you sleep knowing that I'm going to wake up at 3 and you wake up, that's fine. But there's sleeping when you know that you're going to wake up at 6 o'clock ready for subh, and then you wake up at 3. And many times these people who wake up at 3, they will not pray even. Anyway, they will not say that, let me use this opportunity to even pray. No. it will be like a problem. It will be like, why am I not sleeping? And during that time, they're even overthinking. There's so much going on in their minds, and more than one thing. This one did this to me. They must be saying, there's so much going on in this person's world. They're worried. There are lots of thoughts that are going through their minds. That is one. That is failure to sleep. But unfortunately, there's also oversleeping. Someone may just overly be sleeping every time they want to sleep. That's another warning sign. I'm not saying danger, but warning sign. There is feelings. The second is feeling. How do you feel? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you irritable? Or are you annoyed all the time? Whatever comes, whatever answer you give there, if it is a bad one, it can be a warning sign. There's something happening inside there. But it is not one thing, remember. There's all this happening, but you're also not doing what? You're not sleeping. Thirdly, the appetite.
Feed the feelings. We've talked at the extreme sides of sleep. You lose sleep, it's like a warning.
Yes.
Oversleeping is also a warning.
Warning.
So when it comes to the feeling of happiness,
Yes.
when I'm too happy, is it also?
Yes, you may be overly happy.
It's also a trigger. It's also a sign.
No, it's an expression.
That
And it's an expression of yourself, like you're happy. But there's something that is happening in your head there. There are some chemicals that are working on that. Ideally, someone is supposed to feel happy, and then they go off and you get to normal again. But someone can be overly happy, like everything. How are you? What you like? And that one we
but
may
they call
say
it a high sense of humor. I thought it's good. It's on a good note.
a human being is balanced. There are times when you're very happy, there are times when you're flat, there are times when you're annoyed, and somehow you go through that like that. And you can cope. Like today, it happens, tomorrow, you don't have to rely to be whatever happened with you, either in the morning or what. So you move on. So that's a sign. But there's also excessive sadness. Sadness. Someone is sad all the time. There's no happiness in them. That's a sign. You may check yourself and say, what is it I'm going through? I'm feeling very sad. Other people may start to see that.
Yeah.
Then I've talked about appetite. Some people, when they are unwell, they eat a lot. When they are stressed, they eat, and they'll eat, unfortunately, carbohydrates. People like eating carbohydrates when they are stressed.
Carbohydrates like what?
Like bread, like chipsy, what? Actually, those fried things. Yeah, even chicken. Someone can go and say, let me spoil myself and eat the chicken. They go and eat chicken, and a lot of it, They will rarely eat the dodo and those, the vegetables. They rarely eat the fruits. They'll want to eat those other, things that will make them not okay. And in there, they may get excessively overweight. But also on the other side, someone may lose appetite. That's another warning sign. But now, remember, we're talking around the domain of appetite, Someone loses appetite. They don't want to eat. They can only take water, or even that water. You may imagine this person has a lot of iman. You don't know it. But there's something going on in there. They're not feeling hungry. Their hormones, they're not relating with whatever is happening internally in their bodies. So that's another sign. Now, there is another domain of... how can I call it? But it's like a coping. Like when you're trying to cope, what do you do? Many people, or those that are having problems, they may take on, dangerous things like alcohol. Someone chooses to take alcohol, and sometimes they're trying to solve a problem, as in, like they're not sleeping well. It's until I take some alcohol that I can sleep.
Sleeping pills.
Yes, it's like a sleeping, or they take sleeping pills, or like they take energizers. They start taking the rock booms and those other chemicals which help people to get energy. The energy drinks, as you hear them being talked about. By the way, they are dangerous. Let me use that opportunity to tell you.
If taken oftenly or once in a while, it's okay.
They are taken as a coping, as a means of coping. They're trying to cope. In their, as they're moving towards normal to this other side. I said we are living on a spectrum. So of course you start off with maybe one symptom. As you're continuing on this side, you get another symptom and so on. And then as they're trying to cope, they even get onto other terrible things. So that's one way someone may want to cope. Another person who is well or who is not really sick, they will want to, they say, I think I've taken a long time. Let me call my cousin. Let me call my friend and we go out. Let me reach out to so-and-so. That's the positive way. But the other person who is unwell, they may not even realize they even want to be alone. They don't want anyone to disturb them. They lose interest in their phones and every other connections that they have, their networks, and so on.
Thank you, Doctor. Having taken us through the triggers, can you kindly list the importances of mental health? Can we go back to mental health?
Okay, so back into the mental health. We have left this side of the sick people.
Yeah.
But maybe before that, I want to tell you that there are very many different types of mental illnesses. When you see those people on the streets, I've already told you that that's the extreme thing. That's the extreme side of things. But there are those others, the depression that I've talked about, the anxiety. Many of us are suffering from anxiety. What happens? Your heart races. You cannot sit in one place. I've not done this. Remember, when you're unwell, you procrastinate. You say, you postpone everything. I'll do this to the other. So then you have a lot of work piling up. Then you start, getting anxious. When will I finish this? So-and-so is going to quarrel. My husband is going to abuse me. My children have not yet done this. I've not done. So like somehow you get into that quagmire. So anyway.
But you've talked about depression, anxiety, sadness. What is the difference?
Psychosis.
Yes, what's the difference?
It's the different types of, I gave you general signs and symptoms of mental illnesses. So in order for us to get a diagnosis, and I mean the experts, we shall add these two. That A is mixing with the B, and then another sign here, C and XYZ. So then it is from there that we shall make a diagnosis of either depression or anxiety or psychosis or dementia. You know that even forgetting, that the elderly, they usually forget. But sometimes even young people are beginning to forget. You call yourself, Hasani Yasini, where are you? You're calling Akram and then you're calling every other person in the house. That is another sign, by the way. I didn't remember to tell you that. But that's a common thing for us, especially ladies. We usually do that. And, we get good signs of dementia coming in earlier. And then later it becomes even so terrible. You hold your knife and you're asking children, when it's the one even you're holding to ask them. So... sisters, I know audience out there, they have not gotten this point very well. Most times to be down, distressed, depressed, anxiety. Temwetuma bintu gwe jangu gye tuli oba gende w'omusawo.
We need tips because oluusi tetumanya nti bye tulimu. Tusaba otubuulire nti kati wobeerawo oti obeera depressed, wobeerawo owulira bwoti olina anxiety, wobeerawo oti oli stressed.
Kati nze kyenjagala okubagamba nti stress, by the way, stress is not a mental disorder. Tuli wamu. Stress is not a mental disorder. Stress
is part of life, and
it's part of life. Yes, those are the ups and downs of life, And stress is actually a good thing because it pushes us to do certain things. When you're not stressed, you will not do much, It is until you feel that there's some bit of stress or competition, you want to do certain things, you want to finish your house, you want to clean your house the best, you want...
So stress is having too many things to do.
Stress is something that pushes you beyond your normal, your comfort zone, and pushes you to the next level, Okay. Yes, but sometimes, of course, when it's excessive, because sometimes we overstretch. So when you overstretch, of course, we are like a spring. Yeah, so that's the bad thing about stress. There's a certain level everyone reaches to handle stress. And remember, in our definition of mental health, we said that someone is mentally well when they can cope with the daily stresses of life. Yes, so that's something that happens. But now, when it breaks down, when you cannot cope with those stresses, and you do it perfectly. At work we see people, like they are very busy and they do things and they, complete. And there are those others who cannot do anything. They can't do much. So even if, however much you push them, they can't do much. So that is stress. So, and stress, I'm saying, is good. It's okay. We don't have to abuse it. It has to be part of us. So, but what I'm saying that tuyeyambe tutyanga ngabali wano, we need to to help each other. Like when you're seeing your friend, and I'm saying, do not diagnose your colleague. Do not diagnose them. You just identify.
You shouldn't judge.
You shouldn't judge. You don't judge. You don't name people mad or whatever. You just identify them. Tell them that they have a problem, that according to what I'm seeing, you're becoming over lazy, or you're no longer caring for yourself anymore. You're no longer taking care of many things around you. Eh? Okay. There may be something wrong.
That statement reminds me something I read about you. You were at one of the talk shows, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you said we should be mindful of what we say and what we do.
Yes.
Is it relating to what you're saying now, or you had something to say more than that? Because I kept on wondering, how is it related to mental health?
Yes. Now, some of us here are managers. How many of us are managers here? Or manage more than one person? Yes, you have a very big role to play in that person's life. Because you can make their life or you break it. When you excessively nga temubalabawo n'omuvuma from day one to the first hour to the last hour before they go home, you know, ne bw'aba agenda n'omuwerekerezaako ebirala, you're such a waste of my time and my energy and my everything.
I think also that goes to our home. And there's somewhere you said that mental health starts from home. Kati oyogedde okumanaginga tulina ne ba house managers. Badde nsaba obazingiremu.
Ba housemaids bubaama bukola ebintu bingi tubujja somewhere else nga buli eri, then we expect them to come into our homes, to know how to do the hoovers, to use the microwaves and everything. Don't we do that? And sometimes we don't even have time to teach them, to take them through. And even if we did, some of these people are a bit slow. They cannot do that. So anyway, somehow we end up stressing ourselves, but also stressing that other person below us there. So what I'm saying is, managers, leaders, remember we have a role to play in another person's life. It is very beautiful for your boss to tell you thank you. I don't know those of you who have bosses. Even if it was your husband or your elder, tell you, oh, thank you, this is so wonderful. There's a way you feel, not so? There's a way you feel. So you can imagine those endorphins. Like if you told me thank you like 4 times in a day, even if you abused me twice, I would say, you know.
It's a motivation.
It is.
It's also good for people's mental health,
wonderful.
The ones you lead.
Exactly.
All right.
Very wonderful. So it is very important to know about our mental health and even to learn how to help other people's mental health, because my mental health is affected by me as a person here, but also by the people that are in my environment, the people that I relate with, but also with the hormones, with the kind of activities that are going on. People, did you know that this climate here, which changes, also affects our mental health? Did you know?
Yes, it does.
Yes,
sometimes
it does.
It's really hot.
Yes,
sometimes it's really cold.
Very windy, and some of us, our hormones can even change in that time. When the moon is high there, the hormones can change. When you're having your periods, when you're pregnant. So these things, we need to understand them. When you're making a lot of noise or when you're being very bitter with others, kindly accept when someone tells you, oh, wange, kakanako. And many times they tell us, our husbands usually tell us, sometimes we are so cruel to our children. You know? And that's one thing. You're spoiling that child's, or you're denting the other child's mental health or mental well-being. They may feel discriminated against. They may not feel loved. Love is one of the things that we need to give out in mental health. We also need to give love, but also care. Okay, those two are related. But yes, we need to understand when things are going wrong. We need to know that at this point, I think I'm allowed to be corrected when you're wrong. And many times, get a friend, get a partner who understands you very well. When we were coming in, I heard Hajat Zaitun saying that, hey, Shamirah says, I understand her very well. That's a positive thing. Wherever you're in, and those of you who are here, those of you who are planning to become friends, kindly learn your friend. Learn them so that then you can correct them when they are going astray. That is one of the positive things. That is something to help our mental health with. Yes.
Illness, genetic. Could it be genetic?
Okay.
Since we've said it's in the mind.
Okay, we're going into the causes now.
Adopt it from my parents.
Yes, it can be. I don't know how scientific some of you are, but I can just say that it takes more than just one thing to cause a mental illness. There are many causes of mental illnesses. One of them is what we have been talking about. Stress. The excessive stress can lead you into that. The other one I talked about it.
You said stress is normal.
Yes, excessive stress. Excessive and prolonged. Why? Let me
At
tell
what
you the
point
sense.
does it become, or do you consider it excessive?
Okay. Every one of us, once you're stressed, there's a certain hormone that is produced, and that hormone is called cortisol. I'm going to teach you a little bit of biology. It's called cortisol. That hormone will help you to fight, will help you to run faster, like yangwa, and then you'll be able to run and do whatever you have to do. Eh? It's the one that will keep you awake and vibrant and lively, you know. But this hormone is supposed to go down after some time. It goes down. Your kidneys help it to go out of your body. You susu it out. But if it becomes excessive, today, tomorrow, this minute, this hour, this other day, and moreover in different forms, because different types of stresses will trigger different kinds of reactions. Not so? Yes. So, if it is excessive and continuous, prolonged, it is going to make you get into. It will break you down. Let me just say that it will break you down. You will not be able to sleep. Remember, we talked about sleep. It will not enable you to sleep. You will not have time to eat. You will not have time to care for yourself because you're stressed. You see how it is related? So this excessive stress will bring on mental illness, signs, and symptoms. That is one. The second one is the trauma. Most of you, when we talk about trauma, you know these road traffic accidents. No, we are not talking about road traffic accidents. We are talking about conditions which lead to excessive sadness. Things like wars, things like road traffic accidents. I'm calling them accidents, but not either you witnessing an accident, not the physical pain that you'll get, but that unsightly thing, the shock that you'll see, is a cause of what? Mental illness. And some people never heal when they see their parents fighting this domestic violence that we see. Or if a teacher mistreats a child in school, and they are there in school. What happened? Bullying in school. You know, someone cuts off someone's piece of finger or even their hair or whatever. There are so many traumatic things that we cause to ourselves, but also to others. And those ones, when they come together, they can cause mental illness. Another one is discrimination. There's discrimination. Some people are discriminated against for many reasons. Someone is born, maybe they are small, or they have a head which does like this, or they have something, and somehow or you're rejecting, or someone has an illness, a physical illness. That discrimination is terrible.
That's stigma also.
It stigmatizes the other person, and somehow it can take them into depression.
For life.
And for life, it can be for life. The other thing is poverty, but I want to contextualize poverty. When we are all poor, it is okay. No one will matter. And whatever, and it will be okay. The problem is yenjawulo. Bano bagaga, bano baavu.
Nga
bali bonna wamu jukira omugagga ajja kulya nnyama ajja kulya biki bano beeno bali muki mu kawukumi bali mu mukene and those things
just porridge
even no meals and so on omugagga maybe bwalwala bamutwala mu ddwaliro mangu everything happens properly ono omwavu bwalwala they will not even be able to go for a paracetamol
ne kapanado kabula genda okole biruluuza genda okole biki those things those that difference in enfuna the deprivation omwana oli gyafuna yagenda kusomero nga talina bitabo yagenda kusomero nga ye talina uniform alina special ye eriawo eri special that ekintu ekyo kitraumatizinga mu muntu ne beba community yonna ne waba muntu mukulu bw'abeera nga ali mu mbeera ezo they can easily these are the causes of mental illness ill health and so many others hereditary endwadde ezimu tuzijja ku bakadde baffe in your family there may be a case who had a problem and so the hormones the genes follow each other but also the environment I've talked about the environment already and so on naye mark my words it is not only one thing that causes mental illness kubanga abantu abamu bagwa ku accident n'abeerawo nga talina buzibu neggwe lwoguddeko ate lwe lukoze ki
and sometimes sigwaguddeko naye n'olaba agudde ku accident ate nabeera safe
ekikuleetera obuzibu kati mulimu n'okufiirwa let me talk about this kufiirwa and we kufiirwa many things many of us go through separations many of us can lose loved ones many of us can lose jobs that loss is a major cause of mental illness especially depression omuntu agenda neyennyamira nakkaire wansi n'atasobola kuvaayo so all those things can cause a mental illness naye si buli afiirwa nti akola ki nti afuna depression era asangibwa nga ne mu hormones ze oba mu genes ze nga eriyo akantu kati bwe bwegatta bwe butyo somehow someone will break down that's why people break down a little maybe faster than others even if they are all going through the same situation.
Thank you, Dr. Hafswa. Have you taken us through the definition of mental health, the symptoms? Because sometimes when you have mental issues, they're attached to culture, they're attached to religion. Obena mbusiramu bagamba majini. Webeera bya culture, ebyewamwe bikutte, genda olabe ku bajjajja, genda weetondera abakulu. Yet the scientists will tell you that is mental illness, maybe because of all those things you've mentioned. So how are we able to differentiate all those things?
Okay.
And especially culture. Because culture brings a lot of confusion. That's why most of the times we resort to wrong resolutions. Yes.
Okay, culture, first of all, to understand culture is something that is defined by a group of people. Me, you, and wait, netugamba nti mumanyi oyo mwana oyo majini ge gamuluma oyo kino kye kimuluma kino bwe kiba bwe kiti kino kye kiba kibaddewo. Okay, bwe tulaba embwa ng'etambula bweti eyegenda kola bweti embwa bwekaaba oli agenda kufa. Those are things, or we call them stereotypes, things that have been developed by a set of people, maybe through time, over experience. Like they've experienced it and they've, so over time. However, unfortunately, they have abused mental illnesses. Or they've made us not to appreciate mental health. First of all, they have even named mental illness. Instead of us enjoying our mental health, the health that is in there, on the negative side as if it is an illness, because that is what culture or society is telling us. When you talk about mental health, say, and yet it is something that is part of us. So, culture has a lot, unfortunately, to do. Culture is the one that defines whether someone will go to hospital when they are sick or they have to go to a wajaja. Did you know? And unfortunately, 90% of the people that we treat in Butabika, they first seek services from an alternative service provider. These cultural things, jaja wabana, or even the spiritual part of things, as you rightly said.
So do the cultural remedies damage the brain?
And by the way, they don't damage. They don't damage. Only that they cannot work by themselves. And even our medicines, many times, they need to be escorted or accompanied by some of these social things or the cultural things. We want it to be that wogende wajaja. You can also do what? You can also take your medicine so that the chemical reactions that are in there are also settled.
But there's some incidents where obagamba omwana tumututte mu malwaliro bamukoze scan tebalina tebalaba.
Scan, a mental illness is not going to be seen by a scan. Twagala nnyo okola scan ennaku zino ne bw'ona okebera omusaayi bw'oti okebera olabe nti oba mu musaayi mulimu mental illness togenda kugusangamu teguliimu. So the psychiatrists and the psychologists and the mental health care workers will be able to help us to deal with this. They will ask the questions, they will examine this person, and they are the ones who will be able to take this diagnosis. Fetulaba bye signs and symptoms. Naye kati okolera ddala diagnosis nti omuntu ono ddala buno obulwadde bwe bumuluma. That is now for the specialists.
Dr. Hafswa, meaning that scientists do not believe in majini.
Yes.
So, oba mujjanjaba majini mwe aba scientists.
No, mwe mubituuma. Gwe kituuma kiringa kubeera. By the way, there's a philosopher who said that everything in life has no meaning apart from the meaning you assert to it. Kati gojja kulaba ekintu nkolemu kano bwe nti ogambe oyo mwana mulogo. Omusajja akikole omukyala yakimanye nti ki nti ategeeza nti maybe anjagala kalaave. It's a wink for love. Naye ate n'ababbi ke kasayini ke bayinza okuba nga beekozesa okugamba nti bwe nkola kano ng'okola kino mukitegeera. So everything has no meaning. Kati what is the meaning of a wink? It depends on what you put to it. So for us,
in other words, scientists temukikkiriza nti amajini gyegali. Oleko ku muntu alina amajini.
Kati ffe tetugaita amajini.
Naye nga wali omulabyeko.
Simulabangako.
Seriously.
Simulabangako, by the way. Sincerely. Simulabangako naye what do I want to say?
Tulaba nk'omuntu alina amajini. Naye nga wamuwulirako.
Mpulira naye nga most likely these people are having a problem. They're having a crisis. You know, they are hearing voices I didn't tell you about. That's another sign and symptom. People hear voices in their heads there. Mugamba tambula genda kola bwoti genda osale genda okole ki.
Kati tinamala gwabeera n'abaana n'abakyala abasinga. Wali oleko ku bantu abalina amajini. There's a reason why I'm asking because there are some things you are gaga tabimanyi. Since you're a doctor, engeri jolly doctor, I'm going to engage you after, so I'm preparing you.
Okay.
Because yetalanga kwa majini wamulabako.
Okay.
Ogenda tubulira that bit, yeah?
Okay. So kati, I was telling you that we call them hallucinations. Omuntu agenda nawulira amaloboozi oba nalaba ebintu mwe abalabye mutalaba. Nawulira obuntu buntambula mu bugundi muno, you know, mu mubiri buntambula, and that's why some people undress. Awulira eddoboozi mugamba ebyo bijjemu sitaani yabirese oba kino kyekibirese ne mugamba oli mukulu nnyo gwe Jesus oba gwe Nabi Muhammad oba gwe Allah oba gwe President Museveni. By the way, waliwo oba mwakiwulirako ko waliwo omulwadde eyali ebutabika. President we yajja namugamba yenze president wa wano mundabye biki. So the president somehow moved with him, and then he was like, hey, kalira babano kale tebamanyi nti nze mukule w'eggwanga, like all the time, and he kept moving with. But later when he got better, he was told that that's what he had done, but he did not appreciate. He said mulimba kugamba nawuliranga kimusonyiwaza. But at that time when he was going around saying he was the president of Uganda, he was whatever, kugamba nga nessanyu mpitirivu nga ye bwakimanyi. Nze kyendowooza ge bayita amajini, the hallucinations. Kati nze nja kiyita kirala, nammwe aba spiritual nammwe mukiyite kirala. Kyekyo kyengambye nti winki eno omuntu oli ajja kiyita kirala n'oli ajja kitegeera mu kirala n'oli ajja kitegeera mu kirala.
So okitegeeza Dr. amajini tegaliyo?
Si bwe ngambye kubanga nze sigamanyi. I've not defined majini. I cannot define majini. Naye kati gwa defining amajini gwogawa signs and symptoms zaago n'ogatuuma n'ogagamba kati eno diagnosis ya majini. Naye nze bwe nalaba those signs and symptoms njaziwa erinnya eddala nze lyemmanyi gwe lyoyinza okuba nga tomanyi.
Kati ajja okimanyi nti oli musawo w'amajini. Oli musawo w'amajini.
Alhamdulillah.
Many people have resorted to the spiritual healing.
Yes.
Yes. But I know from you, speaking from a scientific point of view. But do you agree that there's some people they scan? Neurosurgeon, they scan the brain like. Yeah, because science without religion is lame. So that's why to
Yes.
resorting for the spiritual healing.
Exactly. Which is very wonderful and which is okay.
Yeah.
Colleagues, there is a healing in what? When we talk about self-care. It will help you to prevent. It will help you to prevent some of these things and to calm you down. Like, when you pray, miracles happen. Mukama nakuletera ekyamagero. Ngeno kulaba ekibadde kikutawaanya nkakiwonye. You know, zibadde sente zezibuze, omwana nakuletera sente nazikuba ku mmeeza, ojja kulanga amajini gagenda. That's my thought, but that's what I think. Kugamba bw'ogatako n'eddagala and everything, ebintu bijja into order. So mental illness, banange, is not some straight thing like this. Nti ensiri yakulumye, malaria parasite nekuyingira, n'olwala omusujja, n'otandika okuwokya, n'otintima. No. Mental illness takes on a more complex, it is a little more complex. There are so many things that are into play. Nezibaletera okubeera nga tukola ki? Nga tulwala. So kati fe abakyala abasiraamu mulimu bintu bingi nnyo bye tusobola okukola. By the way, religion yaffe ena bwetuyamba, ena bwe yatuteeka in positions netuwa n'okuyigirizibwa. Teachings which are so wonderful to help us with our mental health, but also to help the people that we live with, our families. Abana, how are we supposed to take care of our children? How are we supposed to take care of our parents? How are we supposed to take care of the visitor who comes to visit us? How do we care about our husbands and even ourselves?
Before you go there,
Yes. Shamirah, if that is what you are describing is majini, then it is true.
Yeah, most of our sisters, or we have relatives, we have friends who are going through that. So ebategeera nti amajini gajjanjabibwa mu ddwaliro, instead of wasting time into culture, let them go straight to the hospital.
Yes. But they should also get the
so
spiritual.
Sisters, mu ddwaliro bajjanjaba amajini, please stop resorting to cultural remedies. So having learned that today, but then it's about because you had said knocking about the spiritual healing.
Yes.
In references in the Quran or Hadith is tulaga obes kakasa. Actually, there is a spiritual healing.
Yes.
Or mental health is important, or something like that in regard to mental health.
For me, what guides me, I'm not so much into. I'm not a sheikhat. I've told you the schools I went to. So somehow nasoma eddiini yange ku lubalaza baffe bayita bakabalaza, and nga tubojja bubojja here and there. I kubojja my Quran, I read, but I understand more of the English part of the Quran,
which is very fine.
Which is really very fine. But we hear stories of people who had mental illnesses in the Quran. But I want to relate.
Like
I want to pick in the Bible. I'm not sure about what I read in the Bible. Unfortunately, Bambi accept me that way, but it's easy for me to quote from there. Nabi Isa. There was a time when he was.
Inshallah, we shall help you relate.
Nabi Isa, when he was in his preachings, in his whatever, there was a man who came and was mad, who had a mental illness, for that matter. And then there was another one who was feeding pigs. Yali rearing pigs. So he commanded the demons to leave this man and get into the pigs.
That's Jesus.
Jesus,
commanding.
Nabi Isa, yes.
All right.
So these pigs ran and went into the river, and they drowned. So that is a sign that there's a mental those are stories about mental illnesses and how they were healed. But also in the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they tell us that when he was teaching the people that he was with, the Sahabas, he told them that if someone got epilepsy, that there's something, over they put something in the nose, not the mouth, but in the nose. nga gudde ensimbu. They can put some things
In the nose.
Okuula grass, a piece of grass. Akasubi. Mbu nokateeka muki. Baseka batusomesa. These are all signs of treatment of mental illnesses. Epilepsy, categorizing more mental illnesses. Which other one do I know? There is a dua.
How about fasting? Because scientifically and also religiously, there's something you say about fasting and the mind.
Yes. The toxins come out because sometimes it's an excessive. I told you about the cortisol. That cortisol, when it stays in the body, when it stays in the muscles, it hurts them. So when we fast, when we take a lot of water, when we do the exercises, these things go out. So, yes, that's the value about fasting. But also, when we give swadak, when we do good things, when we achieve, there are certain hormones, these are the endorphins, the happy hormones, which come into our bodies and they nourish us and we feel good and happy and relieved. Stress omungi nyabadaze nakola ki nakakana n'okukakana. So doing good is a teaching from the Quran. Giving is a Quranic thing, and so many things. And they tell us to do good things. We care for the elderly. We care for the people around us. Giving alms to people.
Yeah, that is very true. They always tell us that there is no act of kindness that goes wasted. Every time when you do good follows you. And just to add on what the doctor has said, we can also increase on our adhkaris and reciting the Quran. Yeah, because we can see a number of citations in the Quran or verses that where Allah speaks pronounces himself that have revealed to you the Quran, which is a healing to the believers, and it's also a source of happiness and mercy to those who believe in it. So, sisters, in case you are depressed, you can always run to the Quran, do adhkar. It's also good to heal your mental illness.
There's a particular dua, I forget it in full, but it talks about Jodam. I think madness is called Jodam, where the Prophet yekingirizanga okugwedalu okukadiwa no utala, dua mujimanyi. Yes, there's that dua. So there's teachings in the Quran and hadith which tell us to chekingirize okusaba mukama nachikutasa natachikutasako.
Okay, doctor, thank you for taking through that. Now let's look at a woman now. Yeah? What can a woman do to balance her mental health and her roles as a mother at home, especially the young mothers? The fact that the rate of young mothers is really high and most of them are really mentally ill. They're so depressed, they have nowhere to go, and some of them, what makes it worse is that they don't know that actually they are into the situation, they are sick.
Okay. Yeah, so the beauty about mental health is that it's very practical. There's something that I want to tell you that when you do something, when you're prepared, it will be very easy for you to go through it, not so? And I think that's why they tell us, mwesomese, mweyigirize, mwesomese. That's what the Prophet was telling us to kusoma, even if it requires going Ikra. Yeah. Even if it requires going to China, kubigere, ungononyo kumanya, tunonyo kumanya. Once you know something, it will chijakuruwa okutawanya. Bo wetegekere ekintu chikwanguyira okugusa. Ngo kyetegekede nga tumaze gakigwamu chikwanguyira okugusa. Era okumanya ensonga ezimu chikuyamba okusolvinga ne problems zaakyo ezirelated kubanga omanya kino kireetebwa kino bw'okola bwoti bw'ossa bwoti ng'obeera bwoti bw'otakikola ng'okola bwoti. So like you know the whole thing. So bamaama abali mu bufumbo, the young girls or the young women in there. Okay, let me talk to two categories. Abatanayingira bufumbo, toyingira bufumbo nga tobumanyi. Bujja kukalubiriza nnyo.
Obufumbo tubumanya tuti. kubanga buli omu agamba obufumbo budifaringa obwono si bwe bwange.
Yes, but
meaning
they
that omuntu ana preparing
Yes.
it won't like
It's not a one shoe fits all. That is true, but it will be a shoe.
Okay.
It's not a one size fits all, but it will be a shoe.
But remember, we are talking about young mothers.
Yes.
These are the young women who found
Yes.
themselves mothers by mistake.
Okay, no, I'm
Some
now
of them
talking
were
about
raped. Some of them were taken advantage of by their
Okay.
relatives.
I was
So
okay. Kali,
I'm first looking at such a young mother.
a young mother.
Yeah.
Kati, the young mothers who are in there, who found themselves into that relationship, kindly read about living into a relationship. Understand the person you're living with. Understand yourself. Who am I?
Hajat, sorry for intervening.
Yes.
Abaana oluusi baba tebamanyi na kusoma.
Atamanyi kusoma.
Yes, kati oŋŋambye omwana oyo asome. You know, I'm looking at those practical solutions.
Okusoma sigamba kusoma kitabo bwentuti.
Asome.
Naye osoma omuntu gw'oli naye. N'ogamba nti omusajja ono bw'akeera ku makya wano. Bwe ssente bwe ziba tezaayingidde tasalikako musale.
But that takes a lot of maturity. Okutegeera nti ono obwavu bumutabula.
Kubanga n'omwana omuto bwe nkola bw'atanziramu nti bw'aba badde alina kyakola ajja kukola ki? Ajja kuvaawo. Si bwe buli banange. It is a natural thing. It is very natural and it starts off very early in life. It starts off very early in life. You can tell your parent is annoyed. You can tell the friend you're living with is annoyed. You can tell that you've done something wrong, that you're guilty. Nearly guilty, you're no mulaba. Like, they say the guilty run away before they are chased.
These stingy partners. It's very hard to know oba kati alina ssente oba talina kuba embeera tekyuka ewaka. Ne waba alina temutegeera. Ne waba talina.
Tolaba nti nako nako kuyiga.
Nati kati oŋŋambye.
Ojja muyiga ogambe nti ono ye simutegeera ku bigambo bya ssente. Naye bwe kituuka ku mukwano mumanyi nti akola bwati ne bwati. Era nga ekyo kye kijja okukiipinga mu marriage eyo. Nga ssente wakyesonyiwa era nga wakiyiga nti ezo zote zijja kubaawo oba tezijja kujja mu ngeri eno bweti. Naye buli muntu gy'afa yenkana abeerako n'obulungi bw'alina. So look at the positive part of your partner. But most importantly, understand yourself. Nzani, nvaawa, nze saasomanga gundi, sijja kwepampalika na kino kuba sijja kikola ki? Sijja kisobola. Nze nja kikola bwenti ne bwenti ne bwenti kuba kyensobola. That kind of thing. Do not copy and paste another person's relationship because it will not work for you. It will not fit on your hard disk. It may not fit there. So you have to work out yours because every marriage is unique in its own way.
That is very true.
And every relationship is also unique in its way. Tolabanga tulina abaana bangi Zaituna tugambye alina abaana 10. Relationship ye ne buli mwana eri unique. I'm just using Zaituna as an example. Nefe nanga gye tuli. Buli mwana yena relationship ye gy'olina eri unique. Alina bw'akola nawe olina bw'okola. Olina bw'oyagala maama wo in a special way oba muzadde wo in a special way. So kati ne relationship eno mulimu ebintu ebimu byokola in a special way era n'omwami ajja ki appreciatinga bw'atyo era ajja kukwagalira kwekyo ekirungi ky'okoze era naawe fuba okulaba ng'ofuna ekirungi ky'omulabamu ky'osobola omwagaliramu. Minus that, some of us see negative things all through. Tetulaba bulungi n'akamu buli kimu kyonna kiba kibi. So being positive in your relationship will make you happy mentally. And it will come back. It will express itself so that people who live around you will find you a lovely person to be with. And that is mental health. Relationships. But so mesanye bine ebyagondi ebya skills bazita batezo. Those skills of living with yourself, living with others, life skills. Those life skills. That is part of mental health. They are teaching us how to live in this society. There is what we call communication. Communication banange entegeragana wakati waffe njogeraganya wakati waffe n'abantu betuwangala naibo is very, very important. and it affects us in many ways. Bwobogoka, bwoba tosalawo, gwatasalawo, gwatakola ki, twegamba nga tosobola na kuyamba abantu balina buzibu n'obayamba okubajja mu buzibu. Twegamba that conflict resolution nga tomala nsonga zo gwe zisigala awo n'onyiiga n'ofuluma n'onyiiga n'okubemeza n'oyasa ebintu byonna no, those are not life skills. We need to understand ourselves as mothers. Nugamba nze ndi bwe nti oyo omusajja ne mmala mwepampalika kajja kunkuba lujja kuba lumu nze lujja kunzita, but oyinza okuba ng'olina kano akatono naawe kosobola okubajja oluyi, but like bwaleeta nga nawe oleeta. And I'm not saying we fight in homes because our children get traumatized.
But that drives me to a point of communicating mental health to our children.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a specific age, and how do we tackle that issue?
Okay.
How do we handle it?
Okay, I've told you that mental health starts off. Oba kale affects people throughout the life course. Erina bwekwata ku baana, bwekwata ku adolescents, bwekwata ku bantu abakuzeekuzeemu, ne bwekwata ku bakulidde ddala abazeeyi. Abaana abato, what do they want? They want to be loved. They want to be taught things properly, in a nice way. They want to be guided. They want to be shown values. Bwe nga maama kiki oyagala nze nkole ng'omwana, fukamira. Omwana ajja kufukamira. Lya bulungi, toswankula. Omwana ajja kulya bulungi nga taswankula. Yogera bulungi ne banno. Omwana tawogana nnyo. Omuwala takola ki. Omwana talya ng'ayimiridde. Omuwala muba mulowooza mukola ki. You're helping this child's mental health.
So, Hajat, how is that different from discipline? Kwezo zeringa empisa.
Era ze empisa.
Mental health is empisa. Oh, because you talked of moods, how to cope up with stress. So yes. It's what we're expecting to hear. Because earlier on, you talked about abusive partners. Then when they see especially their mother crying, we don't want to affect their mental health. Because there is a lot of domestic violence going on in many families. There is a lot of broken relationships.
Yes.
So I would like you to explain to me mental health.
Bwe yali afumbirwa yangamba mami saabalabako nga mulwana, saabalabako nga muyomba, naye nga kisoboka tekisoboka. So this is one way of doing it. How do we communicate good mental health to our children? Ekyo temubalaga bukambwe buyitiridde, temubalaga byammwe, temubabulira byammwe, muba overburdeninze olwedde gwe kikulemye okumanaginga naye n'okiwakali akato kiwe mukulu munno, kiwe omuntu gwe mwenkana naye agenda n'okuwa solution. You're traumatizing. Many times as mothers we traumatize our young ones. We tell them how their fathers are terrible. Yeah? We tell them how they are bad. Abonya tangulira bino, takola biki. Tubakola bubi. And yet it should be the other way around. Twagala bayigiriza nti omuntu bw'obeera mu bufumbo bw'oba n'omuntu partner wo oteeka omulabira, omulenzi alabirira omuwala. So kati omusajja abeera ateeka okugula sabbuuni n'agula ennyaanya n'obutungulu byonna, omukyala n'abitegeka. But now they were changing the gender roles. Kati buli omu agula ennyaanya, si bule kiri?
Buli
omu agula ennyaanya, buli omu alina ne ssente z'ateeka ku mmeeza bw'ati bweppa. Kati discussion eddako nti zino bwe tuziteeka ffenna ku mmeeza, roles zange ziba zisigadde wanze ngamba nkuyambye, ezizo za kubeera ng'otulabirira. Kati nze ezange ez'okufumba ani agenda okunnyambako? And that's where we start off nti afuna maid, nze sikulinaako buzibu. Naye mulimu abatayagala maid, agamba nze sirya mmere ya mukozi. Kati awo buzibu nga buzze. But what am I trying to say? Communication. Abaana ebyo bagenda okulaba babiraba in different ways. Byoyogera but also your actions. Bw'okola actions ezimu nazo baba baziraba. Ezimu zibamenya, ezimu zibasanyusa. You know? Endala bye mwogera ebimu bibamenya ebimu bibakola ki bibasanyusa n'ebirala bwe mba mweyagala ng'abazadde n'abaana bajja kuyiga okwagala era namwe bwe mba abaana mubaagala okay nabo bajja baagala because that's your investment mubawa okwagala which they have to give back. So communication comes in I think 3 ways: what you do, what you say, and what you give out to them.
Yeah. As we wind up the first session, Ministry of Health, together with the Uganda Councillors Association, they reviewed a report showing that the rates of mental illness in women are 5.1%, and for men it's 3.6%. Kati awo tulabira ddala nti women are those who are most affected by mental illness.
Okay.
Kati tukoze tutya okuyamba omukyalo ono? Bukodyo ki bw'osobola otuwa?
Okay.
Kubanga the numbers are just increasing. Recently, I think you read about the report from Butabika. Butabika is full to the beam. It's full to the beam. What you do? Mental abantu abadmitting every day. Banji tebakyalina space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sagala twetekeko negativity ng'abakyala.
No, this is real. These are figures quoted by yourself being the leader of mental health division, right? At the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
It means that you are part of this statistical compilation.
What I want to tell you is that there are certain conditions, there are some mental disorders which are very special to women or which are more common to women. That is depression. Depression, very specifically, is more common in women. But why? It is our hormones. It's because we are women.
So in other words, depression is okay kubachal.
It's not okay. It's not okay, but it affects us somehow. When we get into our monthly periods, you can imagine every month, those who are prone to having a mental disorder, just that when the hormones go up like this, for them they will break down.
Watugambe tuba tumanya ekintu ne tukyetegekera gundi tebaye, meaning that if I know I have to go through that every month, but how can we reduce the rates at which women are becoming mentally ill?
Okay. Yeah. So there are those things. Okay. There are those things that we can prevent, and there are those things that we cannot prevent. You may not prevent a mental illness easily when it has come. You may not be able to do anything. People who get pregnant and get into the maternal blues, the Twitter maternal blues, no okunyiga nnyo ne baby yennyini nasobola okukakuba emigolo okuba kakaabye kabebi kakaabye ne bakakuba empi. Ono mukazi si musiru. She cannot control it. Kiri eri bubwongo talina kyakikolera.
Tekirina solution.
Kati solution weeri.
What is that solution?
Solution. Eri mu kubeera nti asobola okuyambibwako, asobola okufuna eddagala, asobola okukansolingibwa, oba asobola physically to help them deal with this problem ebeeriwo, kubanga naye tava waggulu n'atandika kuba omwana alina kyaba asoose okukola kaba kakabye nga kamu irritating.
So should I take that medicine before preventing? Kubanga olaba no sometimes when they're taking the kids for immunization tubawayo ka paracetamol. Kati nange nga sinazaala, because no one is sure of the post repercussions of giving birth. So in other words, ngenda kuzaala mireyo ku ddagala eryo eli preventing for my hormones to get hyper.
Bw'oba obadde tonnafuna buzibu obwo tomira ddagala kubanga tomanyi what will happen after here. Kyokka bw'oba ofunye obuzibu obwo genda for care, bajja kuwa eddagala ojja ddimirira ebbanga ly'onoomala nga hormones kyakola ki zikutawaanya. Ekizibu kye tulina nti tetwagala nakimanya nti ekyo nakyo kizibu nti kiba kimirira eddagala. That is our problem. Oba ne mbugamba maama omukulu oba nyazaalawo nga kyekyo ekizibu kyo tajja kimanya kuba takimanyi mu bwongo bwe nti obwo buba na bulwadde. So tajja bujjanjaba. Ffe nga bategedde tukimanye nti omuntu bw'afuuka irritable ennyo nakuba akaana n'okutuuka okukalumako engalo oba okukalya It is a mental illness, it's a sign of a mental illness. Otherwise, every mother should love their child. Every mother would be compassionate. Omwana ono tetumukiriza kaaba nnyo. Tetumukiriza kaaba. Omukyala bw'aba afunye obuzibu ng'atabuse bw'ati, omwami vaayo, omwana mumugjeeko, naye yeebakeko, mwe time yeebakeko. Because remember, omuntu ateebase tasobola kubeera na bulamu, tasobola kubeera na bwongo butebenkevu.
Thank you very much, Hajat. Thank you so much. As we wind up the first session of the show, I'd love to thank you for your very insightful discussion. So far, I know I've been seeing people taking notes. I've been seeing people nodding their heads, mashallah. We are really grateful to have you here. Let's break off. We shall be back soon.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Nice to see you. Toyanzo musomo gwafe. I'm sorry I may be emotional at first, but I think it is from my heart. They told us to gezeko kwetegeera. There are some people nga bali hard to understand. They are so creative. Nsobola okuba with a friend, nga nsobola okugamba byonkoze nga binnumye. I may not be straight kugamba face to face, naye nekutestingira. At least for you, mbandi mbambedde free gy'oli nti nkugambye ekinnuma. Then for you, it comes to your turn, nenkunyiza the very first day, n'otisirikira, n'otangamba. The second day, the following day. Kati gwe newulira nga kikujjudde, opaininse bingi nnyo ku bwongo obwo. There comes a day, n'ogambako omuntu, far from us, gw'oyita oba kyaliwo, I don't know. Kati nze nembeerawo nendaba sikyakutegeera ewaka. I start to kneel down, my dear, ki ekyabaddewo? Buzibu ki? You're not the same I got married to. You changed a lot. Then still nongamba tewali buzibu, everything is okay. Another day you come inside, you pack your things, you leave the house. Seriously, without talking to me. That thing is not fair and I'm not okay with it because it happened to me, I'm sorry to say. We pass a lot mu maka gaffe. Batugamba nti maka, gaba maka. That is the real term gye nsobola okukozesa, nti maka. But at least, manyi kino kigenda tuuka eri abaami baffe. Bwe mba nga nze nina kye nkusobezza. Let's talk ng'abaagalana. We solve the situation, edde weetereere. Than you keeping quiet, ove buvi mu nnyumba, ogende. So, kindi ku mutima, I'm sorry to say.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Part of mental health, what I would suggest, as Madam Shamirah was asking, that what can we do to help ourselves? To me, I think creating social support systems, it's one of the things that can help us to cope up with our stress, daily challenges. There are days you're down, really you're down. You need help. You try to concentrate on your life, try to think about this and the other. Some people fear, like if I share with a friend, maybe she'll talk about me. Confide in a stranger. In Uganda or in Africa, we've not yet captured the issue of use of counselors. I think everyone of us should have one. That is according to me. I started guidance and counseling at Chambogo, but one of the things they used to encourage us to have mentors, because usually when you go for counseling to help other people, you usually get burnout. You go home with people's problems. I experienced this when I went to Mulago for my practicum. You deal with people with HIV. You see children of 15 years. They tell you their stories. You go home and think about everyone. You think about the other and the other. And it was getting up to me. There is a day I went to help a girl, and actually I almost lost it out in front of that girl. And I had to refer that girl to a senior counselor. After I went there for counseling, because I couldn't deal with it. It's the same thing that is happening in our daily life. We can't deal with some issues. There are people who can help us think more than us, especially when you're in that situation. You find yourself in a situation that you're like, you think this side, look at this side, and you're like, you're in front, you're in between a web. You might look at Zaya and talk to her, because right now she's not in your problem. In short, she's able to think more than you think. So this will help us all. Get someone you feel like you can confide in. If it is not around you, then look outside. Consult a friend who, amongst the Muslim community, there are issues that even concern us Muslims. You find your husband has taken on a second wife and you cannot take it. And this thing is not in this Christian marriage. They will still ask you when you tell them, you people, how do you deal with this issue? Me, I can't. So look at Zaitun, who is a Muslim, who can give you the issue of the Sahabas, the wives of the prophets. And at the end of the day, you might come back to your senses and like, yeah, they are human beings. I'm also the same. Let me deal with it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Tuyina kye tuyita dream team. Buli muntu alina okuba ne kye tuyita dream team. And one of the things that helps us have mental health is having a dream team. Dream team kye ki? Oyina okuba nga oyina personal nearly everything. You should have a personal gynecologist. Abakyala tuvaayo ku just a mere doctor, nojja ku personal gynecologist. You should have a personal plumber, electrician, boda baba tugana, but you need to have 2 boda men who are like, olidi dawa, njagala genda, you get, you can have your Uber, you should have a personal dream team. Bebantu bo younger, you just a call away. Nti hajati yakubya byonna nabivaako. They really make you easy. So one of the people who are part of the dream team is your psychologist, your counselor. Most of the time twagala abali qualified, but sometimes it could be some old woman somewhere. Nga bw'otuula naye omubuulira ensonga ze kisookera ddala nga zigenda kusigalaawo. Very important in the women's circle, because oba tonnaba kusituka nga byakuyiseeko dda byage. You know how we deal with things, eh? Oba tonnaba kusituka nga emboozi yatuuse dda gy'okola ki? But we need that person who can sit with your problem. N'abeera ng'asobola okuyamba ng'ataagisirikidde. So that is the dream team. Jagadde mukifune. Get a personal, muli omu afune okusinziira ku byokola ebintu byo. Ekirala, preparation. Dr. yayogedde ku preparation. One of the things we don't do in the Muslim community is what we call premarital counseling. Ffe tetuyinaayo kuteekateeka bafumbo. Okujjako mu professional counselors. Jendi. No wonder we are cooking for emyaka emingi. You need to be prepared for that journey, because baba, it is a serious one. Someone needs to sit you and show you nti bw'otuuka bw'oti kati omusajja oyo eye omusajja anoba. Can you imagine? Ffe twanobanga, si bwe biri. Kati omusajja anoba. Someone needs to prepare you for those emotional imbalances in people.
Amanya gange nze Hajara Nalunga neyongerako erya pounds. Doctor, kyengenda okubuuza, it is personally on me. Nesanganga sometimes akantu akatono, something small, it pisses me off, like nenvaako, I even cry. I don't know, like osobola okunkola ekintu ng'olaba nga honestly kigenda kunyiiza noweewunya nga lwakisinyiize, ate n'okola ekintu nga olaba kano Hajara tekasobola munyiiza. Wallahi I get pissed off nempulira nga saagala nakuddamu kukulabako. When I'm stressed oba watugambye nno tetwetuma bintu I cannot one. Nina obusungu bungi. Like I don't feel like talking to anyone. Nina obusungu bungi that I can keep quiet for 2 hours. Nga sina gwenjogera naye. For 2 to 3 hours. They even start pleading to me. Say something. Nga mpulira saagala. Like ngoba ndowooza we nayogera ngenda kubastinga. Kati ate nga buli nkuuma obusungu ku mutima mpulira nga njagala kwabika. I feel everyone is buli muntu gwentunuulira ndabika bubi. And when it comes to eating, I can even spend a week casting. I have something I'm like something like a dream. Emmere tombuulira. Sleeping, I can sleep. Bwe ngamba mbuno ngenda kwebaka. Allahu Akbar kabira. Eswala zonna zisobola okumpitako. When I say, oba kiringa ekiri mu bwongo bwange, when I say I'm not going to sleep, I don't. Nengamba nti kati saa 6 abantu bonna mu nnyumba beebase. Nsobola okutunula paka saawa. The difference with me, nsobola okubeerawo nga ntunula paka saa 9 oba 10 naye ng'ekigendererwa kyange sisobola kuba nti ntunula. Wabula nsobola okugamba the fact that sirina tulo kambeera at least tahajjudi ngisaale because I have a lot to ask Allah. What is my problem? Kubanga nze nvaako waya. Simanyi nti waliyo n'omusajja anampasa. My mom always tell me nti no kendeeza obusungu like okambwalira abantu okambwalira abasajja kendeeza obusungu. I don't know.
Bambi ababuuziza ebibuuzo mwebale nnyo era mbebaza obuvumu n'obwa Sseruganda bwe mulaze kubanga it takes of course guts and also courage and love to share with others. I am sure you're not the only ones with those issues that you have shared with us or the difficulties that you're going through. I want to clarify or to continue to say certain things that learning never ends. Okuyiga omuntu kitwala obudde, but there are certain things bye tuyiga ku muntu oyo ate era tubiyiga over time. Like togenda olunaku lumu anyize oba olunaku lumu tanaabye and then you say oyo tanaaba. No, it takes a while to know the patterns, to follow a pattern. Era nga nkibaagaza nnyo 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 mubenga mulina abantu b'osobola okudescribinga abantu b'owangala nabo. It is part of your mental health also because through them, because you have to live with them, so you have to manage like that. So yes, some people can be very difficult. We all have different personalities. But we also have a problem with the boy child. Bamama abali wano mwenna abalina abaana abalenzi abalina abaana abalenzi. Now I'm talking to mothers. We need to do something. We need to come and do something. We have prepared the girl child to live in a relationship, to live with others amicably, to do everything. But we have not worked on the boy child. We have not raised those boys. They have just grown. So they throw tantrums even in their homes. When they are adults, they continue to throw tantrums. You know? Now kunyigira ebintu ebitalina, you feel like you can't beat them up, but you feel like. But I think with education, with learning, knowledge, not education, but knowledge. Bwe tusomesa omuntu nti kino bannange kinyiiza okikola bi ne tuwekumira misomo ne tubeera misomo ne tubeera misomo egy'enjawulo. Mental health is a very cross-cutting issue. It goes into so many things. We've seen the spiritual part, we've seen the psychological part, we've seen the social part. Byonna your mental health agendayo. But we need to learn. People need to be taught that what you're doing is hurting others or is going to affect another person negatively. We need to grow our children. Nga bamanyi ki kye bateekwedde okukola, kyekinyiza omuntu, obeera otya obulungi mu banno, oyogera otya bulungi, okola otya ebintu ebitaanyize banno, oba ebinaabanyiza obikola otya. N'akimanya nti kino kyenkoze naye omuntu kijja munyiiza. You know? That is that. Naye, I'm answering together with Hajara, who says she has a personality problem of anger. Anger management is one of the life skills. Let me get an opportunity to teach you something today. It's pretty light. It is something we do, but we do not pay attention to it. But it's a very wonderful intervention, full measure that helps us to deal with anger. I'm sure Muslimah knows it because she's a psychologist. But it is about breathing. Breathing is so wonderful. This is given, God yatwa oxygen and whatever. But when you purpose to use it as a therapy, it is also a very good therapy. Let's do it. We don't have enough time, but let's do it. I'm going to first explain how it works. And I'm telling you that I learned it that tactic. You who are having problems with anxiety, will help you. I'm going to here. It's going to help you. What do? You first sit yourself down. You calm yourself down. Okay? Better to put your 2 feet on the ground and you feel those feet on the ground. You feel that you're stepping on the ground. Okay? Then you sit up. You can lay down, but you can sit up. Okay? You breathe in through the nose. Wait, don't do it. I'm just explaining now. Okay? You breathe in through the nose and you breathe out through the mouth. Okay? But when you're breathing in, you purpose to count. We are going to ask, sometimes, if you don't have a lot of time, it is 3. But if you have a bit of time, it can be 4. You count like 4 seconds. How do we count seconds? And 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Those are 4 seconds. Interview, and 1, and 2, and 3. That's how we count the seconds. So you breathe in 4 seconds. You hold the breath for 4 seconds. Okay? And then breathe out for 4 seconds. And hold that breath, the breathing out, like you don't breathe in again. And hold it a little bit for 4 seconds again. And you do it again 4 times. Okay? So maybe for now, let's do the 3-1. Let's do the one for 3 seconds. So we shall start, and 1, and 2, and 3. Then we hold it, and 1, and 2, and 3. Then we breathe out through the mouth. It will calm you down. Even at night, when you're failing to sleep, you do that. Don't sit this time because you're trying to sleep. You do that, you breathe in, you do those breathing exercises. You will not know when you slept. So that's the treatment I'm sharing with you tonight. And I hope it helps you. So let's start it. Okay, Bismillah. We start. 1. Okay, let me guide it. Okay, let's breathe. We breathe in. And 1, and 2, and 3. Hold it. And 1, and 2, and 3. Breathe out. And 1, and 2, and 3. In other words, breathe out slowly. Okay? So you breathe in. Breathe out. Through the mouth. And hold it. So we are doing the 3rd time. Okay? Breathe in. And 1, and 2, and 3. You hold it. And 1, and 2, and 3. Breathe out. And 1, and 2, and 3. Hold it. And 1, and 2, and 3. Yes, but after 1, you hold it as you're breathing in. You hold that oxygen to circulate in there. And then you breathe out. Continuously breathe out purposefully, like breathing out. Then you hold it, the breathing it out. And then you breathe in again. Okay? Do it 3 times. But we've done it. And I'm sure those who have had something have felt it. Go home when you're more, Come and do it. You will feel it. Practice makes perfect. I know, I'm sure it is medicine. I've ever told it on a woman. I'm telling a little story. We were in Kirudu. There was this girl. She had a small baby, and I didn't tell you this problem. Drinking alcohol, taking drugs, marijuana, taking those things, kugaya, molondo, and those things that affect the babies, which have an effect on your brain. They will affect the baby as well. So this woman delivers a child who is small and very, very sickly. So this time, she's crying loudly. Kirudu, not Kirudu, it is Zanta. It's a maternity ward, so you can imagine whether it is a mother trying to deliver, they cry a lot. But she was on the general ward, crying. She had left, the baby was crying and the mother was crying. Had no breast milk at all because of the stress. Everyone was unwell generally. So I told her, abamukazi nga bamugamba okwange sirikako naawe omwana ajja kulwala naawe sirikavu omwana obumuyonse namugamba kale mama jangu my sweet jangu I sat her down. We started living and muno Allah mwe yayisiza. She calmed down. She was crying. Do you know hot tears stopped. I told her to breastfeed your baby, take a omwana ku bbeere nagamba kaaga namugamba she the baby got on the breast and pulled. She was very happy. The baby was hungry. The mother was very happy. The milk came. Vicious cycle yona netujikola ki netujizaayo lino ddagala nze ndirinako evidence ddagala nange nze nyini when I fail to sleep I do that and I sleep in the night. So those of you who are having anger issues or failure to manage yourself properly, try this. No bwaba mwana abaana babeerayo ng'alina obusungu ne kaka omuyita bwisi jangu tulabe mukwano jangu tulabe. Then you start off sanganze bwenzisa. Then you do the same thing. Mujja kulaba they will calm down. Atajja kwagala. I want to talk about the hug. Hugs ezo muziraba. Ziwe zileta closeness to people. Naye ffe abajjanjaba abavubuka and so on, we tell mothers to hug their children. To hug their children. Mulimu ebintu ebi bibiri. Mujja kuleeta love eyo naye omwana bw'aba akozesa ebiragalala ojja bikola ki? Ojja biwulira ebiragalalagala. Ne kafandasi kano bwe kaba katandiikiriza okujja ayambala bihijaabu ebinene bwe biti ojja kawulira. Mubitegeera bwe ngamba fandasi mugitegeera? Olubuto ng'atandise okufuna olubuto wekola hagi ojja kuwulira ojja luwulira ogambe
n'akabuuka
n'abawunya nga tanaaba bulungi ojja muwulira. Yulaba okola ekintu kimu nga kirina very many things kyekigenda okusolvinga. So let's try to do some of these things. There are many more. Taking walks as ladies, we need to take a walk. We need to love ourselves. We can spoil ourselves. I think this is one way of spoiling ourselves. But we can even spoil ourselves a little more. Mulaba abaami n'abakyala bagenda mu SSA Islands. But we can go even to other places. Why not? Allah yakutonda nakugamba nyumirwa ensi eno oli munyumiza nti wasigala bweyogerere wokka. Bwe wazaalibwa n'owangaala n'okola n'osigala bweyogerere. Please move. Mutambuleeko mugendeko egundi mugendeko e Nairobi wano mugendeko Mombasa Zanzibar gyebiri. Ate sente ezo si nnyingi by the way kambabuulire. Did you know? Lwakuba temumanyi mulowooza buli muntu alinnya ennyonyi ateekwa kubanga mugaga nnyo nedda. $2 3 bw'ozinoonya n'ozeetegekera ozikola n'ogenda n'omwami wo ne mubeera eyo n'omuwanamu nga gw'omuwadde namu. But kale doing yourself those good things and favors is so wonderful. Abalina abaami abazibu tugenda the best friend actually oyayogedde nti tufune abantu network ozogeddeko. Yes, it is very important, but your very first best friend is Allah. That invisible hand there ekukwata ku mutwe bweti zuukuka ekiro ne bw'oba tozuukuse gamba ya allah gw'omanyi ŋŋenda wano ŋŋenda ku kino ndaba kino ndi ku kino nkusaba nkwegayiridde naye nga bw'ozuukuka ekiro kyekisingako okuba ekirungi nobamu advantages ennyingiko omanyize kati mbagamba ebintu nga kirina than one use. That is our mental health. We need to settle down. Ogambe ayi allah nga siteredde sitebenkedde mpulira ebintu binnemeredde wano mbadde nzagala onsaasire abalala baleme biraba nga nze sinnabikolako okubitereeza. Tuyige okwemanya ekizibu kye tulina okukyekolako mangu abalala tebannajja kuba ebiseera ebisinga tubimanya okimanya ekizibu okimanya era ne bano ne bajja ne bagamba gwenga owakana bubwakanyi naye ng'ate era okikola ki ng'okimanyi. Kati ate era n'abalwadde omuntu omulwadde nga muzibu ne mugamba oli mulwadde n'agaana era kiva ku personality ye nga takimanyi nti osobola n'okulwala. Bannaffe abaami abasinga tebakimanyi nti bo basobola n'okulwala oba basobola n'okubeerako obumogo bwe baliko bo bali perfect, which is not right. So kati tusomesa abaana baffe abato nti osobola okubeera omulwadde ate era osobola okubeera omulamu. Osobola okubeera nga gwe ogenda okuyamba omulala, gwe osobola okubeera nga the reason to help another person. Banange twavuddemu omutima gw'okuyamba n'olaba ekintu n'okirekawo bw'otyo just nogamba ye naye banange which world are we living in? So anyway, what I'm saying, we need to do some of these things. We need to do a lot of self-care. We need to go to games. We need to listen to music. Abantu nzenze mpuliriza music oba bibi simanyi naye ne Quran nayo ngisoma era nenjiwuliriza naye lwakubanga oluusi ebimu ebya Quran basibitegedde naye bwe mbisoma nembiziramu mu luzungu mba mbikola ki mbitegeera ate nze mmanyi njogerera n'abalala bangi sibe n'abali wano nti ffenna tuli baani basekati bo babitegeera naye kati mulimu naffe abamu abatabitegeera naye nze kyenjagala nti mulimu ebigambo ebimu bye tuwulira mu nnyimba ezo nga bitukolera.
Nandibayimbiddemu akayimba awo. Dr. omalirizaawo?
Kale kamalirize.
Okay.
Kale ono adda mbuuza akayimba akankolera nze akankolera kana akaga siri regular.
Nze nakaweereza ne Haji ennaku ezo.
Siri regular. Era naye akamanyi kuba byonna bingi ebikalimu ndi mu mbejja nze gwe mulaba wano so bingi ndi musawo. I mean it means a lot. It really carries a lot of what for me. But anyway, Bambi, thank you very much for listening to Toka Manyi. Ulabye.
Nkuyimbiremu. Tumaliriza? Are we done there?
Yes, I'm very well.
We are getting two more questions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to thank you, Doctor, for the insightful discussion. So my question is, I would like you to help us understand, especially the people who struggle with the mental illnesses, they are stigmatized. How can we help those people not to be stigmatized? Like, for example, if I have a relative who has a mental illness, how can I help them and the people around me and myself not to stigmatize these people? Because very many people think mental illness, chiradde ky'abazungu, and all those things. That's my question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that wonderful discussion about mental health. It's a very pertinent issue that touches each and every one of us. I just wanted to emphasize from the discussion until one of the ways in which to manage mental health is self-awareness. Very, very key. Tulina okwemanya. Olina okumanya bwemba nvuddeko kyekibaawo. Because oftentimes, when I'm pissed, I do this. And from self-awareness, omanya how to control yourself. N'ogamba nti nze bwe nyiiga ennyo, singa mba njogedde. It can be so bad. And ekintu kyobeera oyogedde kizibu kuzzaayo. So then you can get remedies such as walking away, trying to keep silent. Era nga bw'olaba nti mental health omukyala highlighting nze n'agamba tulowooza nti kintu ky'abazungu, but mental health ne musiraamu gye kiri, it's been there in history. Prophet Kenyini yalina a situation where he was not getting revelation and he was depressed, okay? And while he was going through that, it was very tough. So it's very normal for you to go into depression. It happens. If it happened to the Prophet, peace be upon him, then it can happen to all of us. And Islam has also taught us how to manage such situations. For example, bakugamba bobo onyize, bobo baddo yimiridde tuula, bobo baddo otudde, lie down and all that. So we have these solutions right in the Quran. Jacob, the Prophet, he went into a very stressful situation when mutabani wewe yali abuze, and what he did was praying and all that. They talked about doing adhkar. It's very, very important. Bobedo ogenga through that situation. She says the first person connection join okuba nayo ya Allah. So adhkar ezo zikuyambako. Aba soma surah Duha. Mujimani, I listen to that surah and it's always coming. You know, when you're going through something, like, you know, so it helps you, and we need to take advantage of those things to help ourselves. Kati, my question, Doctor, is about internet. Because initially, twaberangawo oluse bintu byotategedde tebikumalaako mutwe, yeah? But currently we have a lot of access to information on the internet. For example, fena twaliwo mu COVID, we twafuna first case, and we would be glued on the television. Nebagamba akati tutuuse ku numbers westi, and we were always in that kind of mental state etawanya. So every time you would hear the numbers go up, and then they advise that for you to try and manage, try to bwetwalekerawo okumanya numbers. There is a way we would feel about COVID. You know. So this information that is around everywhere, where you see someone posting something on their status and you're like, bagenze autu bichiba innocent. By the way, some people even post those things. Like I have a friend of mine, she'll take a meal today and post it like next month. So for you think they ate chicken. Yeah? So those things are also affecting our mental health. So Doctor, abantu bakoze batya, because internet is here to stay, but what would you advise someone in terms of information jofuna kubanga egenda kumalako emirembe, you have too much. How do you manage that consumption of the very much information that we have around? Thank you.
Thanks goes to Thuraya Islam Media. They've continued to put this on that level. This information is out there. Neboba wa missing, courtesy of Thuraya Media. They are doing a very beautiful job. Just when a sente, they are here to make money. Tubawa sente. Okay? Echokubiri, we want to thank BMK Cafe, BMK House Cafe, Wanawetutudde. They've given us friendly environment, friendly rates. Okubanga tuli wano, twebasaba mujje munywe buchai, coffee talk ne webange weddeko, mujiragirire n'abantu bajje wano baberenga banyumirwa.
Nzikiriza Dr. Nkwebaza mu lulimi lwensinga okutegeera ne host nti mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Ebigambo byammwe bibadde bituuka ku mutima gwa buli muntu, naddala ffe abakyala abasiraamu. Ekimbadde ku mwoyo ekisookeddwako sister akyogedde. Obukulu bwa surati Duha mu biseera by'okubeera ng'olina okwennyamira. Tessuula yo buli bw'ogifumiitirizaako n'otunuulira ebyengere ebibaddewo mu bulamu bwo, n'ojjawo kino ekikusoomooza essaawa zino, n'odda ku the blessings Allah z'akuwadde ng'omubaka Allah bwe yagimuyisaamu, otereera ng'obadde oyina embeera esoomooza. Ekyokubiri kye tuyiga mu byafaayo by'obusiraamu, omubaka bw'amala okuyita mu trials, Allah yamutuusaako amawulire ag'essanyu n'amuwa olugendo. Tusomesebwa nti olugendo lw'omubaka okugenda mu ggulu, it was one way of soothing him, okumuggyako ennaku gy'akoze eki,
Bannaye naawe osobola okwewaamu olugendo. It may not be Mombasa. Naye osobola otambulako ku nsozi z'omu Kampala. Oba you're nearby. Sometimes I was traveling on Entebbe Express. Batugamba abantu tebatambulako. Naye when I was traveling, nalaba omuwala n'omulenzi nga bali ku lusozi waggulu. Ku express oko rock, there is a rock somewhere. Ng'omuwala n'omulenzi batudde akasana kaseetinga bwe kati. I felt like onange emmotoka eyimirire oba nninnyeko ku lusozi. You can as well do it ng'oli mu mbeera ey'okwennyamira ng'omusiraamu. Ekyokusatu nga kikulu nnyo ffe abakyala. Today when I was planning for this day, I planned to come very early. Someone called me. Nambuza ebibuuzo bingi. Nambuza, where is the problem? Nangamba, the issues with the relationships. Sayagadde kumusaza because I'm a counselor. Fe ba counselor ba training sometimes nga abasawo. Nti client bwakubiranga ina issue. Singa yetuga mu mateeka you are answerable. So nabadde no holding kino ekyokujjano ngende attending that client. But before I reached the venue, the next call was on oppression mukubye kansooke mu ddwaliro. I was like, oh bandi bayeti, oh you know, but why? Ladies, we lose ourselves, especially in relationships. Tetuganye twagala, alhamdulillah, it is okay. But don't lose yourself. Bananga, at the end of that day, we are all human beings. We have our shorts and our longs. Nti, waliwo wokoma. Okwagala twagale naye tuteekeko ki. Don't lose yourselves in relationships. Manage them, whatever kind of relationships. Twina zino eziri intimate, twina zino ez'emirimu, twina partnerships. All those can draw us into mental illness. But let's learn to regulate. Bannange omukwano gumenya. Ng'omukwano bwe gumenyera omukyala ku mwana we gwazadde ow'obuwala ne bagamba nti ali lubuto ng'omu. That pain. Naye y'omusajja yo Allah yasinga okumanya obulumi bwayo. Fe abakyala basiraamu ekisinga otukuba tusula eri is polygamy. Me and Zaituni were chased away from talking on polygamy. But the fact is, if we decide to learn, we can manage. When we learn, ekigambo self-awareness, self-care, self-esteem, self-discovery, ebigambo ebyo olabanga ebya bulijjo. But when you go into the depth of those words, but now we can live a better world. Manya omusajja nti omwagala. Self-awareness manya nti really leero bwe mbanga mpeddeyo nniza kutandikira wa. You know, naye ffe going into, as we call it, religious addiction. Nti banyaza we bali wano bamaweji. Bwe batuzaako enkeera n'asanga mukyala we ng'asibye niqab, hijabu ng'ekweya 2 meters behind, engalo azisabise n'ebigere. Mwanyinaffe amanyi kyagamba, mashallah, nze munaye mukuzaako nafunyemu ekyengera. Omukyala asaala, asula ku musaala, ennyambala yakyuse. It's not just about that. Don't look at it at the face value. There is something beyond that. Nti tolowooza nti imaani yokka yeemuleetedde okweyesa hijabu mpaka wa. Nti n'olaba nti ne nikaabu yagibisse nti imaani yokka. It's not about that only. Bannange abakyala balwadde. People are into depression because of love affairs. Banaye, let's do our best. Twetegeere. And please go to the council. Did not come to Mariam. But look out for those people that can help you. N'owulira nti togoyinze into shirik. You've not lost yourself. Tufiiriddwa abakyala abagezi abalungi. Abayitebbeeyi. Kabafudde lwa nsonga ezo ate nga tetwagala bafiirwa. Because we are the generation today and tomorrow. Because we tuzaala leero baliflectinga ki. Tero gamba mikwano gyange nti omusajja gw'olina bw'oba n'ebikusoomooza tunula gye mu famire gye yakulira. Okitegeera? Assalamu alaikum.
Omulimu guno nagwanjudde nti muzibu mukkirize bwe nkuwa akazindalo nkakusikako. Mukkirize bwe muba mukkiriza mpayo abantu babiri bwe mba temukikkirize tugende tubalirize mukkiriza 1 second.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I would like to make a small supplement on the causes of mental health. There are certain diseases that can trigger mental health, and I'll mention a few. For example, diseases that we ladies we can acquire, especially sexually. For example, HIV, syphilis. Someone can get HIV psychosis. So ladies who are here, take this information and try to prevent it. And if at all you have adolescent children, go ahead and teach them on how to prevent these things, because of course we will teach our children not to have sex before marriage, but how many actually do not have sex before marriage? And they are not going to tell you. So number 2 is there are a lot of people who come to hospitals with hysteria. In actual sense, on assessment, you find that this person is just hysteric and they are not like mentally sick, like they do not have a psychosis. So how do we help people to know that this actually can be dealt with at a personal level or at a social kind of something?
Dr. Hafswa Lukwata, thank you for the event. Zonna insights zotugambye mashallah la kuwata saba Mungu akongere okumanya n'okutegeera. Dr. Hani bakansilaz bonna abali wano byonna tubifunye alhamdulillah wa mashallah byonna we ladies we take that good percentage okubeera nga tutaddeyo nnyo ne oba ogenze mu ddaliso zonna, but the male child you've not that gender temugiwadde nnyo time. Mr. Mawejje, the CEO Thuraya, oba ogenda mu katale wa Kiseka gye bakolera oba ogenze yonna wali abaami abo gye bakolera, we do our part ne tutereeza ne tukola buli kyonna, naye abaami abo Allah otugamba nti no, when you get married you are fulfilling part of half of your deen, yalina hikima behind. Njatereeza nnongoose naye ng'omwami gwe nnongooseza mufu muzibu. Efamile gye yakulira waliwo oli agamba nze balinga yankoona nga ye ali ku kiri mami okulya omuntu oyo ogenda okutereeza otya, njatereeza ntereeze, and the percentage esinga omukyala yenna otebenkera mwami niwe okola sente zitya zawe yandibadde takyalina omwami nti naamwagala okiwulira nti anoonya mwami. So Dr. Hafswa, as you are working in a government institution, what have you done to help our male gender? Because it is not tebalwadde nnyo time fe tutereeza n'ogenda mu ddaliso olaba 80%. Dr. Han Stepping Stone, how many girl child have you taught? Naye abaami abo nabo beetaaga okubeera nga babavaako nnyo. Assalamu alaikum.
Abagasseeko ku kye twogedde wano kirungi nnyo mbeebaza mwebale kugattako, naye mbadde njagala kwongerako ku buno obutonotono ku internet. Yes, there is what we are calling, or even finding within our health information systems now, what we are calling internet addiction. People have become addicted to internet. Nina n'omusango omuloope. Someone came and told me omwami owange azuukuka ku ssaawa 7 ogw'ekiro n'abeera ku ssimu n'ettaala yaayo nga oluusi ng'alaba na football kati bw'amala ssaawa mmeka, ssaawa nga 9 oba 10 n'addawo ne yeebaka. Bamuzuukusa ku subuhi nga talina nagavaawo kubanga ekiro kyonna yakimaze ku ssimu ng'ali mu buliri. Kwegamba boy child n'abeera nga ye boy child atukoze kubanga ddala light y'amasimu eyo ogiraba is also dangerous. It affects the eyes. There's a way it spoils the eyes. What do I say? What do I want to say? People are addicted to internet. It's not only boys, but also us girls, women. Here we don't cook anymore. We don't prepare. That's what we are doing. And we are posting many funny things. I think let's get back as Muslim women. And that now comes to the question that my sister has asked. I think we are seeing equalization. That's why we put those special programs for women. But now the men, we are coming. I think we've equalized at some point. And we are a little ahead. Classes as university, a very unlikely thing. So to equalize Chemanyi police egenda kuyita tubeere nga tukola ki nga tukola ebintu nga byawamu naye abakola bino are usually NGOs, non-government organizations olusi be balina programs zino eziyambako okukubiriza the different gender eba etawanyeemu so kati ffe ng'abakyala ng'abantu abali wano nze naawe ebintu bino bitandikira mu family ekyo mukimanyi ng'ate gundi asinga mu family asinga amaanyi ngenda gayita magezi mu family ye mukyala sibe guli ffe tukozeewo ki kuba kati n'abawala nabo tubalekeredde tulina abawala ng'atuula butuuzi wali babayita batya teddy bear ng'agenda n'akuswaza n'okuswaza nti agenda n'akyalirako baganda bo naaba nga tasobola na kuyimuka kujjawo kikupo mwanyweredde kyayi ng'omwana muwala yalibadde omwana omuwala. What am I saying? We've seen the bad things about the boys, and now we are copying instead of polishing this side. I think we need to get back to a sorting. We're upside down. Tuzukuke. Tubade twewunzise, twesulise, tusterere. Ngaba mama. Let's go back and tell our children what our mothers told us as we were growing up. Ngole koti ekikopo wonyweredde you people. Ng'owaata otya emmere n'otajjaawo by'owaatiddeko. How? It was not possible. Naye kati n'abawala tebamanyi na kuwaata mmere. After all, omwami gwagenda okuwasa, gwagenda okufumbirwa, naye tamanyi. Tamanyi nti balya n'amatooke tagaagala anyway. Ajja kulya kawunga naki? Na muceere. I keep telling my boys, you have to eat matoke because you are not going to be a slave of another person. Kubanga tetulima muchere wano. Tugulima, but in other places for Baganda tulima muchere. So, ogenda kubeera momboze. Some other person will decide what you eat and when you'll eat it. Kubanga winzo kutuka out of stock. Tebagulese. Oba harvest yabadde nnungi olonga temulya. No. You have to eat the matoke, ogegende, ogerimire, lumondo mulye, muogo mulye, and everything. It is very important. Let's educate these people as it were. Exercising. Kulu. Kantunulire wana embuto z'abantu abali wano kantunulire. Embuto ezo muziraba. Embuto ezo muziraba. Zinakye zitegeeza kuki? Ku mental health yaffe. I'm a culprit myself. Temulabanga newesemu bwenti. Naye kina kye kitegeeza self-care abakoze eki? Abaweddewo. Tulina omuntu eyatugamba nti jjako akakaaya ako otunuulire oluviiri oluli wansi w'akakaaya ako. Kikulu. Jjako hijaabu eyo tulabe ku bigenda awo mbwe bityo. Tuli bulungi. Self-care. Self-care. Kale twekubirize kati ffe ng'abali wano ekyo tukitegedde. Exercise is very, very important. Exercise daily. Jjako ekibuto ekyo. Ekibuto ekyo bwe kinaavaako. Ne by'obadde ogamba nti saagala omutwe gunnuma saagala nze ndeka. Ojja kulaba nga improvement ekola ki? Ejja. Exercise yokka eyawo nawe ekolawo. Bw'oba ne exercise, your libido goes up. Abasinga ebisinza okwonoona obufumbo. The excuses abakyala olumu ze tuwa. leero oli mulwadde, luli oli musimanya ki ekitawaanye, luli omwana akaaba, luli waliwo kiri, luli omugongo ogukoze gutya, everyday luli bwe tutya. Ebintu ebyo byonoona amaka ate bye bituleetera ne stress. Ate oluusi tubeera over stress kati tufa ne kuba bosi nnyo okusinga ku baami. Njogera byonna bingi nnyo kubanga bingi bye sikyogedde. Hysteria tetukyamuyita hysteria mu malwaliro, takyaliyo naye nga tumumanyi nti gyali. Kitegeeza ki? Omuntu ono alina ekizibu naye tasobola ki-expressinga bulungi mu butuufu bwakyo, kati n'ayiiyaayo kasobola okukola n'atandika okukola kama ne kakati for attention, at least afune someone amutunulako, amulabako. So that hysteria kyekyo kyeri. It is a mental illness naye nga teri defined properly kubanga buli muntu yeeyisa mu ngeri ye, so tetusobola kiteeka wamu. Naye nga obulwadde obwo gye buli kiba kitegeeza omuntu ono yeetaagamu koka counseling, yeetaagamu okuwulirizaako. Neetaagamu kalaavu. Ate obwo obwana obwo obuwala obwo obusinga kaba kalina bye kafunye, kaba kalina bye kaagala, growing a bit of attention nga kaagalayo okukawaayo some attention. Naye oluusi ekyo nakyo gyekiri. Kati ono muwala ye hormones ze zigenze waggulu, yeetaaga ne tumukansolinga ye nakakkana kubanga oli gwayagala ate oluusi ayinza okuba nga tamwagala oba nga yamukyaye. Ate abawala bambi mu butono bwabwe oba mu bunene bwabwe bintu bye baagala ku balenzi bitono. Namwagalako ebelt, akasipi. Mwana oyo ayambala akasipi
kubawuna, atambula bulungi, mulenzi atambula bulungi.
Ate nabwo kati nabwo bwayize kati nabwo kwekolako bulungi kwegamba kiki enjagala okugamba. We need to educate our children to have value. Let's teach the values in our children. Kiki tubaagala balabe mu mwami. What kind of man do you want to have?
Naye mukimanyi tugenda kola session ey'okubiri eya gundi eno. Nze ndabanga Doctor
biganye okugwa. Kale
oli bulungi?
Ndi bulungi alhamdulillah, naye nga ndaba kwegamba tulina bingi nnyo bye tuteekwa okwogerako okukkaatirizaamuko. So yes, but we will another time, it will be alhamdulillah.
Yes, because ndaba ate osumulula busumuluzi, ate omuzindalo guno gunfuula omuntu omubi. Kyova Shamirah yagambye nze mba ngubeerako. Doctor, round up.
Bakuyita Hajati
Hanifa.
My sister Hanifa. Balina bye bamubuuzizza ebyamajini n'ebyagundi boy child ndowooza.
So the issue of the boy child, at the stepping stone, we have a boys agenda. In fact, this holiday, we are going to have a boot camp for boys only. Look out for that space. It's going to be on the 3rd of September. Check out all our socials. You can actually call me 0772 750-708. Myself, I'm an adolescent health expert. Tujja bikwata. Nabino ebimu bye batubuulira. Number 0772 750-708. Nene bw'onoonya ku social tufuna. Empisa ennungi. The facilitator has given her view about Majini. I request that we go with that. Thank you very much.
This certificate is proudly presented to Dr. Hafswa Lukwata for her informative discussion at the 7th episode of the Muslimah Coffee Talk show held on the 18th August 2023 about the key aspects in our lives. It was so insightful. It was timely. We are grateful to have hosted you. Signed by Namutebi Shamirah Umchi. Thank you very much. You have done us very good. Please.
Graciously take it and such a
Yes. Now, that photo is important. All right. So, Shamirah, you're going to wind up in the next 5 minutes, and then we go.
Thank you so much, Zaituni. I'd love to first ask Dr. Hafswa otuweeyo akatalekeka kweno topic mu bufunze kaki akatalekeka
talekeka bantu bange. Mental health is our health, and there's no health without mental health. Tetujja kuba balamu nga tetulina mental health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hafswa. Sisters, we've heard it from the doctor herself. By the way, she's the leading expert in Uganda in mental health and also in using substance, of course, Sabi drugs. She is the leader, and she's also the leader of Mental Health Division, the Ministry of Health Uganda, and she's the Assistant Commissioner, Ministry of Health. So I think we brought the right person. We've learned from the right person. Ate Sibyambu. Mumuulidde, she's speaking from experience. So as we wrap up, I'd love to advise us all to take this issue so serious. All the topics we discuss here, tusooka kukola research, bakazi church tuluma. So as we did research, twalabye nga abakyala abasinga, we are going through mental depression. I think you had the statistics. Statistics, Ministry of Health, ne Uganda Councillors Association, combined report, balaga nti 5.1% of the Uganda's population abakyala tulina mental illness. The men are 3.6. And out of the general population, 14 million of Ugandan population balina obuzibu ku bwongo. And this problem is not like static nteremeddaawo. Butabika egambe tetukyalina space. And we have very many counseling private departments or abantu bangi baguddewo nnyo bugundi bu private counseling oba bu rehabs nabo bagamba bujjudde. This thing is like as if it's competing with COVID-19 statistics. But remember, it has a remedy to be good. So mental health, we have to do a lot of things. I tell you, it starts with us. Yeah? Mental health, from what we have seen, it starts from the heart. It's saying mental, nechiva kumutima. How? As I was doing research, I kept on being like perturbed, mental. Atomtima nekola chi, naye Allah yansasidde. There's a report I read on Yakin University, or Yakin Institute of Islamic Research, Omar Sulaiman. I think Mumanyi, you can go and search. They have a very, very good report on mental health. Dalange kuyamba in line with Islam. Yeah? I appeal to all of you sisters. We can't discuss everything, but if you give that report, the good thing even is visual. Yakulaba. Give it time, watch it, there's a lot of solutions. One of the things they talked about, Batubulidenti Quran, is a healing that Allah jiatua okutuyamba in many things, and one of them is our emotions. So if I can paraphrase what I read, they quoted Surah Isra. Surah Isra is the journey they've talked about, Umuli Isra Miraj, when Rasul went to the heaven. So Allah tugamba, I sent you down the Quran, and the Quran is a healer, it's a mercy, it's peace to those who believe. It's a literal meaning, but if you read in depth, actually, because we've learned that Quran, the adhkar, are very, very vital in our mental healing. They are very, very vital in our mental peace of mind. And we've had testimonies. Sister Shamirah atugambye nti ye waawulira suratu duha awulira ng'ebizibu byonna bimuvuddeko. So sisters, let's utilize those two things, Quran ne adhkar. Sometimes oyinza okuba nti tolina gagisoma oba ne weeforcing embeera gy'olimu oba weebase subhanallah astagfirullah. Force yourself. Spiritual ojja kulya ng'ebizibu bikoze ekiddala ekiro ku tahajjud. Yeah? Then also tukola tutya ku mutima gwaffe okuba nga tuguwonya ebyo ebintu ebiba bituluma. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam yatugamba nti, this was reported by Buhari and Muslim, yagamba nti omutima mu mubiri gwaffe there is a piece of flesh. When that piece of flesh is sound, the whole body is sound. When that piece of flesh is corrupted or damaged, the whole body will be what? Damaged. That includes the what? The mind. Meaning that the power comes from the heart. So, to work on our mental health, tandikira wano. Councillor Mariam agambye twagale naye tulekewo ko room for disappointment in anything, even if it's your parents, your kids, your partner, your what. Ate batugamba buli oyagala ekintu n'osinza okwagala Allah. Kyagezesa. Sometimes we love so much our partners, olusi netukola ki? Olusi netuva ku dini. You find a partner, nagamanza, omanya akakaya ko bisharira kendeza at least wear top dress and legging, egunjo girechi, omwagadde okusuuza ki? Allah. He's the same person. Allah gwagenda okugezaako. You've done everything. That's why something like kuzako, this is a reality we have to accept. Nene chikusule daru. Yes, we accept it differently, but it's because wamwagala nnyo nokola ki okusinga Allah. It's the same thing that applies to our children. Sometimes we love our children so much. Omwana lumukuba noyomba ku kyalo, ani akubye omwana. So everything you love so much, it affects deep your mental health, yeah? It could be work, olinga you're addicted to her work. That's when things go wrong. Alabanga chi. Guys, the end of the world. So sisters, I appeal to all of us again, nganageneta them. Let's twesibenyo ku Quran, twesibenyo ku spiritual healing. So, one thing chobo kulembeza yourself. We're checking your self-care. How's your self-care? Do self-evaluation. Honestly, byanko sajebidi. Bine bintu byenkola oraba na to go mu basaaba baganda byebidi. Bine bintu byenkola at work okuvumirira bannange at their expense when promoting a. Do self-evaluation, yeah? Then have self-encouragement. Normally, to better personal mbera nenga Namutebi. Stuka. Namutebi. Mbera neita. I keep on calling myself, but it works for me. Kati ngo kuzuka kutwala bana kusomero. Mbera manyira ne uchibachi ngena ngama Namutebi zukuka ogenda batwala. Then iswala ne tuka bera that laziness Namutebi. Stuka ino shaitwan. You keep on talking to yourself. Self-encouragement, self-push. So as we finish, the Quran itself, yeah, you get it there, it's for healing, yeah? And in Surah to Ra'ad, yeah, it's 13 verse 28. Allah to gamba, and verily, in the remembrance of Allah, do the hearts of believers rest. Huh? Rest, meaning that's why they find peace. So, if our Creator mwenyini atukakasiza nti buli wonzijukira is the way you find peace, then chitutagala, chotagala. And bine bintu escalating kuba webijja tubiwa nnyo gap. Nomanya kantu kaba katono, let it go. Eh? Nomanya kantu kajja dduka ku musaala. Twesibe nnyo ku musaala, twesibe nnyo ku surala tudduha, twesibe nnyo ku tahajjud. That hour is really gold. So we have all the healings. So nga tebana twala butabika kuba yo wajjud. Tolinda that stage. So let's take this issue very important, very, very serious. Sorry, because it's real. By the way, it's very real. We are suffering from that disease, but what differs are the levels. So alhamdulillah, the good thing for us, we are still sound. Somehow it heals you. It heals you. So I'd love to leave all of us with those few words. I would love to also conclude by thanking BMK House Cafe. Honestly, we don't know how we can pay back BMK House Cafe. And we pray that Allah actually makes it the point to boost their businesses. So here you can bring your baby showers here just in the name of supporting them back. Bring your bridal showers, bring your parties here, bring your day outs here. They have very delicious meals, very good customer care. That's why we are here. I would love to thank Thrive Islam Media. Those brothers of ours are always there. Honestly, production comes with a lot of costs and also inconveniences. It comes with a lot of patience, but we thank them for also the subsidized prices, and also thank you for being patient with us. Lastly, I thank the sisters who responded to the advertising call. Thank you so much. This is why Muslimah Coffee Talk is here. We are not here just to listen and learn, but also support each other. So advertising our business is one of the way we are helping ourselves to grow. And to my beloved sisters, we are always grateful to have you here. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate the sacrifices you make to be here, not only financial, but but time to be here. Otherwise, may Allah grant you a safe journey back home and bless you in all your endeavors. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.